so nervous when he was in the room with us.
Hi, Laszlo.
Lay out there.
I'm ready to go out.
Okay.
Laszlo, bye-bye.
Wow, that was beautiful.
Good luck with Laszlo.
Thank you. Hi. Hello and welcome to Adopt a Pet New York. Have you been thinking about getting a dog or a cat? Well, we hope that we are going to help you make that decision. And remember, if you're thinking about getting a new furry baby, we want you to adopt, not shop. There are many shelters and rescue organizations around the city that are doing amazing work to find forever homes for the unwanted and homeless dogs and cats in New York City, and you can help. We're going to take a look at some different organizations, specifically the Mayor's Alliance for New York City's Animals, and learn about the wonderful work they're doing. This is the Mayor's Alliance for New York City's Animals, where a small team of dedicated professionals do a lot of work to benefit the city animals. Oh, and yes, there's a couple of cats.
The Mayor's Alliance for New York City's Animals, our mission and our vision is to see a day in New York City when no dog or cat of reasonable health or temperament is, and we have a cat visitor now.
That's perfect. That's just perfect.
To see a day when no cat or dog here in the city is killed just because they don't have a home. So we do that via our key initiatives, via the Wheels of Hope, the New York City Feral Cat Initiative, and our mega adoption events. Prior to our founding in 2003, 1 out of 4 animals were making it onto new homes and onto rescues in New York City, which means that 3 out of 4 animals were being euthanized here in New York City. And we were created in response to that to help to reduce the euthanasia rate here in the city. So we're now at a 90% live release rate, which we're very proud of. And all of that progress really came from our key initiatives, the New York City Feral Cat Initiative, the Wheels of Hope, and the mega adoption events and our Adopt-A-Palooza events that we put on here. The way that the process works, there's the New York City Shelter, ACC, which is an open door shelter, meaning that they have to accept any animals that come into any of their shelters. Approximately 30,000 animals every year are brought to the city shelters. And if it weren't for the New Hope partners of ACC and our Alliance participating organizations, those animals wouldn't have anywhere to go. And again, that's been a part of our strategic plan for the past several years to get all of these resources in place so that these animals have a place to go and we can end euthanasia here in New York City. So it's via our Alliance participating organizations, what they do is they get a list of animals every day and they decide who they're going to pull into their rescues. And our Wheels of Hope drivers go to the city shelters and pick up those animals and bring them to these rescues free of charge. And it's by far our most critical program. If not for the Wheels of Hope, we would not have the success that we have today.
My name is Deborah Fiero, and I drive for the Wheels of Hope, which is a division of the Mayor's Alliance for New York City's Animals.
What does a typical day look like for you, Debbie?
A typical day for me, I like to use the phrase, we're a sanctuary on wheels. We basically get dispatched out to the area shelters, which would be animal care, formerly the Animal Care and Control, Animal Care Centers, they're now called. And we get the animals out of the shelters to foster homes, rescue groups, hospitals, wherever they need to go to be safe.
How did you get started doing this?
Around 10 years ago, I had a dog that was pivotal in my life. Her name was Catherine. And she was 8 years old, and 10 years ago, she was diagnosed with hemangiosarcoma. And she died within a matter of 3 weeks. In a matter of 3 weeks, and I was broken by that, and so I looked online for jobs with animals, and I first started working at Animal Care and Control, and then I would see a driver or two come in from the Mayor's Alliance and take the dogs out, and I thought, I'd rather be taking them out than checking them in. So I called the Alliance and interviewed, and I was hired, and I've been with them ever since.
Is this a full-time job for you?
Yes. Yeah, we are in there 365 days a year, whether it's me driving or we have a couple other vans, so someone's out there all the time on the road.
What's your favorite part of your job?
My favorite part of the job is walking out of the shelter with an animal that was in trouble and needed to get out. And I also really get a kick out of when we drop the animals off. The other drivers and I have talked about it. The animal, usually a dog will always turn around and kind of nod its head to thank us. And it's for that reason I do this work. Usually we get our directives the night before. Get up, get in the car, either drive to the Staten Island shelter or the Brooklyn shelter or the Manhattan shelter, or sometimes all three, and pick up animals. Usually a mixture of a couple dogs, a couple cats. And, we typically just bring them to locations. Sometimes, if my road is New Jersey, several stops, as far down as Atlantic City. You could drop a few off in Jersey City and a few elsewhere. But you always kind of have a full car. So we go to the shelters, and the New Hope department helps to set our van up with the animals, and off we go. And that's it. We just wake up and do it again the next day. Always a different experience, different animals. Sometimes it's a car full of chihuahuas, and sometimes you get a 150-pound, bull mastiff. But always interesting, and always a sprinkle of magic in there.
Now, what are we doing today?
Today we're going to bring some food to a dog whose name is Bailey, who the owners needed help, and Jane kind of has been looking over Bailey for the last 3 years. So I was in charge of making sure Bailey always had food. She's a 12-year-old lab, and every 6 months we fill her up with treats. Jane made sure I got her treats, some hard food, and a little bit of wet to sprinkle on top. And we're going to Animal Haven to give them a crate.
Here at the Mayor's Alliance, we're really lucky to have a lot of incredible donors who end up sending us cat carriers and dog crates like these that they can no longer use, so that we can bring them to our local Alliance participating organizations and shelters and rescues, and they can get great use out of all the items that New Yorkers can no longer use for their own pets.
Want me to help you?
I got it.
You got it? Thanks, man.
Yep.
Here, let me get the door for you.
Thank you.
to go in and adopt?
I'm good. I'm good right now. Got one spoiled brat to take care of.
There's always room for one more.
My name's Kathleen OMalley. I'm the Director of TNR Education for the NYC Feral Cat Initiative, a program of the Mayor's Alliance for New York City's Animals. The NYC Feral Cat Initiative is a program of the Mayor's Alliance for New York City's Animals that supports the efforts of organizations and individuals who help community cats, that is, stray and feral cats who are not owned, they live in the streets and in backyards. And we support Trap, Neuter, Return, or TNR, which is the humane and effective method of controlling and managing populations of community cats. The goal of the NYC Feral Cat Initiative is to reduce the population of community cats and to promote the humane treatment of community cats, which includes fighting animal cruelty perpetrated against community cats, to promote the best practices colony management, which means proper feeding and watering and providing winter shelters for these cats who are unowned and they're living outside. They can live perfectly good, long, healthy lives if they are properly managed.
My name is Mike Phillips. I'm president and co-founder of Urban Cat League. We've been working in Hell's Kitchen for about 20 years now. I also teach workshops for the Mayor's Alliance for New York City's Animals. I'm a community outreach coordinator for the Feral Cat Initiative. First started doing Trap, Neuter, Return. A lot of people were baffled. They said, why are you even doing this? The cats are only going to live 2 or 3 years. They're going to have a horrible life. And what are you doing? Well, I didn't really know to tell them wrong at that point in time. But 17 years later, when we humanely euthanized the last cat in the San Remo colony, and that colony doesn't exist anymore, I realized that Trap, Neuter, Return is the right thing to do if you get quickly to no reproduction. You don't want to just be doing trapping a long, long time. You have to get it done. Get all the cats neutered, you're in a caretaking situation, and we've had 2 colonies now that just don't exist anymore. Large colonies that don't exist anymore.
The NYC Feral Cat Initiative offers a variety of workshops for TNR caretakers and anybody who's interested in caring for community cats. First and foremost, we have the TNR certification workshop. We encourage anybody who's feeding feral and stray cats to take a TNR certification workshop. This will teach you the techniques of TNR as well as the behavior and the entire background on why do we do TNR, where do feral cats fit into our society, our cities, anywhere in the world, really. So you get the big picture of TNR as well as the specific training for how to do TNR, how to recover cats in traps after they've had spay-neuter surgery. We don't turn them back outside as soon as they get back from the clinic because they have to recover a little bit. We teach you all of that. And we teach you about neighbor relations, because if you're doing TNR in a city, even in the suburbs, anywhere really, you need to know how to explain it to the community and how to let them know that this is a good thing for the entire community. Even if people don't like cats, TNR will benefit everybody. So it's very important to get that community relations component across. And we encourage anybody who's taking care of cats to take the workshop, because even if you never even pick up a trap, you can take part in a TNR workshop. There's something for everybody to do, whether it's talking to the neighbors, doing the actual trapping, taking care of the cats after surgery. There are many moving parts to a TNR project. For more information on the NYC Feral Cat Initiative, people can visit www.nycferalcat.org to find out about how our program works and how to get involved. There is a tab on the front of the homepage called Get Involved. It tells you about taking workshops and learning about community outreach. We have flyers to give out to your people in your community to educate them about TNR and colony care. So I would say, definitely go to the workshop. If you want to contact us for more information, you can email info@nycferalcat.org.
One of our other key initiatives is our mega adoption events. Our mega adoption events take place here in New York City, and it provides a big platform for New York City's animals who are homeless to find their homes. So the Adopt-A-Paloozas are our largest events. Typically we have about 3 of those in New York City per year. We've got 2 in Union Square in the spring and in the fall, and then we have 1 in Prospect Park in between in Brooklyn. So this gives the opportunity for our 150, typically about 30 to 50 groups out of the 150 Alliance participating organizations to come out and bring the animals that they currently have up for adoption, so that New York City's residents here can meet their new furry family member. For more information about the Mayor's Alliance for New York City's animals, you can visit www.animalalliancenyc.org.
So now I would like to introduce you to 2 very special guests, my good friend Karlie Sandrock and Big Al. Welcome, guys.
Hi, Paulina. Thanks for having us in here.
So I'm really excited that you are going to be a regular part of our show from now on, along with Big Al.
Yes.
And this segment is called Karlie Tales. Tell us a little bit about it.
First of all, thank you so much for even having me be a part of this. We're thrilled. Karlie Tales is going to be a really cool thing where I get to interview people throughout the city about their adoption stories and what it's like to have their newfound furry pets in their forever homes. I'm really excited. Yeah.
So we won't get too much into your story because we're about to see your adoption story coming up in the next segment. I won't go too far into it, but I just want to say that I am really excited that you're going to be part of the show moving forward, and we're really excited to have Al here.
Yay!
But without further ado, let's take a look at Karlie's adoption story, our very first Karlie Tales.
My name is Karlie Sandrock.
My name is Bobby Walsh.
We are the owners of Big Al here. Friends of ours, Frankie and Matt, had sent Bobby a picture message of Al and was like, "You have to meet this dog. He's like your personality, but in a dog." And so we're like, "Oh yeah, maybe sometime." And it was the morning, we were both supposed to be going to work. I had a little mini meltdown before work, so needless to say, I'm on the phone with Bob, and he's on his way to come pick me up. And he was like, "Instead of going to work, do you want to go to that shelter that Matt and Frankie are at?" And I was like, "Yes." So we went there, and then that's the day we met Al, and that's the day we decided to get a dog and bring him back.
We adopted him from a great place called Ramapo Bergen Animal Shelter in Oakland, New Jersey. And it just got some renovations. And it's looking really great. And it's a no-kill shelter. And they loved Al. He was there for 9 or so months before we were able to get him.
They warned us before they brought him out. They said, "Careful, he may try and bite. He's not that friendly. They're really great about how to handle and how to act around the animals. They're really great about educating people." But when they brought him out, he came up, he sniffed us, and he was like, "All right, yeah, these are my humans. You can take me now." So that's basically just how it went. So Al, for the first 8 or so, almost probably 9 years of his life, was part of this animal hoarding situation down in Louisiana. over 100 plus dogs, 40 plus of them were Dachshunds. It was assumed that he might have been used for breeding because they did neuter him once he was part of the rescue. I'm not sure how they got from Louisiana to New Jersey with him. I'm not sure if they partnered up with other rescue shelters, if it was a big mission, you know, a group effort. I'm assuming something like that. But when they rescued him, he had mange actually on the back of his ears, all down his backside. That's why his hair on his back is quite short. It's actually, and it's really soft. It kind of feels like puppy hair because it regrows and then it goes through stages, and then sometimes the hair won't grow there still. Or he does have some funky ribs as well, so it appears that like his ribs have been broken and then didn't heal back properly. So sometimes, once in a while, he does get a little touchy if you pick him up too quickly or anything like that. The 8 or 9 months he spent in the shelter, I think was okay, but just because he was an older dog, nobody had the desire to adopt him. Meanwhile, we really didn't think twice about it. They said, you know, he is 9, but in our minds, he's a baby. he's a dog. Like, what do you mean? I don't care if he's 9. You know, we just wanted to give him a nice home.
Al, it's time to go outside. Wanna go outside? Al, wanna go outside? Hey, wanna go outside? Wanna go outside? Come on. Come on. Come on. No, you don't get a belly rub right now. Gotta go outside. All right, Al, come on. Put your coat on. Well, I successfully got his coat halfway on. And he popped back down.
I think overall in the shelter, he did have a pretty good time there. Although, you know, and they said how he didn't really like walks that much or anything like that. But I think, I mean, because now it's the complete opposite. He loves having walks. He loves going outside. We've taken him hiking on the Appalachian Trail. He climbed up the whole way by himself. Of course, I had to help him on some parts of it, but he's just kind of blossomed since I think he was fine and they took great care of him, but he was just missing the trust and the love that I think, you know, they all need. Because at a shelter, you know, you can do as much as you can, but the dogs are sad. They need people to love them.
Al, it's time to wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up.
Stay. Stay. He's very smart, so it is quite easy to teach him new stuff, but we also have to keep in mind his past and what he's been through, and that, you know, it may be harder to teach an older dog new tricks, but it's not impossible. He's become quite a hit on social media. I do have an Instagram account for him just because we got so obsessed with taking pictures of him. And so I was like, oh, we might. And then we went to a Dachshund meetup. That's what it was. We went to a Dachshund meetup in Washington Square Park, and everyone was like, what's his Instagram name? And I said, what Instagram name? So then we made one from there. One particular photo I took of Bob and Al together went viral. And so it went millions upon millions of hits from various different pages on the internet and Reddit and everything else. We've always been pretty outgoing people, but we've been forced to be even more social because, you know, oftentimes we were just walking him down the street for his morning potty break and someone will stop and say, oh, he's so cute, or how old is he, or what kind of dog is that, because he's an Isabella Dachshund, which we found out after we adopted him is pretty rare. It's a recessive gene, like both parents have to be Isabella Dachshunds, and he is a purebred and everything, so people kind of like hearing about that story. We interact with children a lot more, and ironically, having never been exposed to children, he is so good with kids. Like, he will let them drag him around with his leash, you know, they'll come up and pet all over his face, and he just lets them. He's so patient with them too. With adults, if you're being a little annoying, he'll not give you the time of day and kind of walk away. But with kids, he'll sit there, and so we've been interacting with them more. You know, I feel really lucky, and everybody that I know that has adopted dogs feels the same. We all get the same emotions, you know. It's a blessing, honestly, to be able to find these animals who can come out of any situation and still love people after what people have done to them. It's crazy.
Yeah, and then you find out your capabilities of like how much you can love another animal.
Right.
And that's just a whole nother amazing thing by itself.
So thank you so much for watching our show, New Yorkers. Remember, adopt, don't shop. If you are thinking of getting a pet, do so. Go to a shelter, go to a rescue, get a baby, get a little dog, a little cat. They will bring so much into your life, you cannot believe it. And if you are not sure about adopting yet, then maybe think about fostering. It's a great option if you're a little hesitant about adopting at this point. I want to thank Karlie and Big Al for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
And look forward to having you on again for our next episode of Adopt a Pet New York.
I love you.
I love you.